Have you ever gotten out of bed in the morning and felt like your legs just didn't want to cooperate? That heavy, stiff, almost painful feeling in your calves and thighs when you first stand up? Like your legs aged 20 years overnight? Maybe you've noticed your ankles looking a little puffy by the end of the day, or that tingling sensation in your feet that makes you feel like you're walking on pins and needles. And you've just been telling yourself it's normal. It's just part of getting older. There's nothing you can do about it. But I need to tell you something important right now. That is not normal. And it is absolutely not something you have to just live with. Because what's actually happening inside your legs while you sleep could be quietly setting the stage for something far more serious than morning stiffness. And the most shocking part is that there is a 3-minute routine you can do before you even get out of bed that changes everything. I'm Dr. Sarah Brooks. I've been practicing medicine for over 20 years. And today I dedicate my work entirely to helping seniors live healthier, longer lives. And in all my years of practice, few things have surprised me more than discovering how many of my patients were dealing with dangerous circulation problems in their legs without ever realizing it, and how something as simple as 3 intentional minutes every single morning could reverse the damage that was quietly building up day after day. So stay with me today, because what I'm about to share could genuinely save your life, and I mean that with full sincerity and medical seriousness. Let me start by asking you something. When was the last time you woke up and your legs felt completely fresh, light, and ready to carry you through the day without any effort at all? If you're struggling to remember, you are absolutely not alone in this. Millions of seniors across America wake up every single morning fighting that same heavy, sluggish feeling. And most of them assume it's just gravity, just age, just the way things are now. But what's actually happening is something called venous insufficiency combined with overnight circulation stagnation, which is a fancy way of saying that the blood in your legs isn't moving the way it should. And by the time you've spent 6, 7, or 8 hours lying down, that blood has pooled and settled in ways that put enormous pressure on your veins, your joints, and the tiny capillaries that feed oxygen and nutrients to your muscles and nerves. And here is where it gets genuinely alarming. When circulation in the legs is poor over months and years, you're not just dealing with discomfort. You're looking at a dramatically increased risk of blood clots. And blood clots in the legs, what doctors call deep vein thrombosis, are one of the leading silent killers among Americans over 65. A clot can form in your calf, sit there quietly for days or weeks, and then travel to your lungs or your brain. And suddenly, what started as morning stiffness becomes a pulmonary embolism or a stroke. I've seen it happen to patients who had no idea they were at risk. And that's exactly why I want you to keep watching, because the solution I'm going to share with you today is so simple and so accessible that there is genuinely no reason not to start using it tomorrow morning. If any of this sounds familiar, the heaviness, the swelling, the tingling, the legs that just don't feel right in the morning, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button right now. It helps other seniors find this content, and it truly means a lot to me and to this community we're building together. Now, before I walk you through the 3-minute morning routine that's going to change how your legs feel every single day, I want you to understand exactly why this happens. Because when you understand the why, the solution makes so much more sense, and you'll actually stick with it instead of doing it once and forgetting about it. Your legs are doing something extraordinary every single day. They're fighting gravity. Your heart pumps blood down into your legs easily. Yeah, gravity helps with that. But getting that blood back up to your heart requires a remarkable system of one-way valves inside your veins that work like tiny trap doors, opening to let blood pass upward and then snapping shut so it doesn't fall back down. These valves depend almost entirely on muscle movement to function properly, because when your leg muscles contract, they squeeze your veins and push the blood upward against gravity. And when those muscles relax, the valves close to hold the blood in place. It's called the skeletal muscle pump, and it is literally the engine that keeps your circulation healthy. Now, here's the problem. As we age, those valves weaken. The muscles lose some of their tone and strength. And when you spend the night lying perfectly still for hours on end, that entire pumping system essentially shuts down, which means blood sits in your veins, pressure builds up, fluid leaks into the surrounding tissue. And that's where your swelling, your heaviness, and your morning pain come from. Not from age alone. From inactivity combined with weakened circulation infrastructure, And those are two things you absolutely can do something about starting right now. There's also another factor that most people never think about, and that is temperature. During the cold winter months across the Midwest and Northeast, or even during cool nights in the South and the Pacific Northwest, your body responds to lower temperatures by constricting your blood vessels to conserve core heat. And that constriction is often most pronounced in your extremities, your hands and feet and legs, which means that by the time you wake up on a cold morning, your circulation has been fighting against both gravity and temperature driven constriction all night long, and your legs are paying the price. Understanding this makes it crystal clear why that 3-minute routine is so powerful, because it directly and immediately counteracts every single one of these mechanisms at once. But before I get to that, I need to tell you about something that is making this problem dramatically worse for millions of American seniors without them ever suspecting it. And when I mention it, I think a lot of you are going to have that moment of recognition where everything suddenly clicks. The hidden circulation saboteur that I'm talking about is something that sits in almost every American kitchen, and most people think of it as a normal, even healthy part of their diet. I'm talking about excess sodium, particularly the hidden sodium in processed foods, canned soups, deli meats, and the packaged snacks that so many of us reach for because they're convenient and familiar. According to research, the average American consumes nearly 3,400 milligrams of sodium per day, more than double what most cardiologists recommend for seniors. And that excess sodium causes your body to retain water, which increases the volume of fluid in your circulatory system, raises the pressure inside your veins, and makes your already struggling leg valves work even harder to push blood upward. The result is that people who eat high sodium diets tend to have dramatically worse morning leg swelling and circulation problems. And the fix is partly as simple as choosing low sodium options the next time you're at Walmart or your local grocery store. Now, I want to share something with you. I had a patient, a wonderful 73-year-old woman named Margaret from outside of Columbus, Ohio, who came to see me complaining that her legs felt like two waterlogged logs every single morning. And her ankles had been swelling so badly that she'd started wearing her slippers all day because her shoes wouldn't fit anymore. She was embarrassed about it. She thought it was just her weight, just her age, just something she had to accept. And when I told her that within 2 weeks of making a few specific changes, she would feel a measurable difference, she looked at me the way a lot of people do when they've been told their problem is unfixable for so long that hope itself feels naive. But she trusted me, and she followed what I'm about to share with you today. And 6 weeks later, she walked into my office wearing her good shoes again, and she hugged me in the waiting room. That is why I do this work. And that is what I know is possible for you. So let's get into the 3-minute morning routine. And I want you to really pay attention here because every single movement in this sequence has a specific physiological purpose and the order matters. The routine begins before your feet even touch the floor. You're still lying in bed, you've just woken up. And the first thing you're going to do for 60 seconds is what I call ankle pumping. You simply flex your feet up toward your shins as far as they'll comfortably go, hold for 1 second, then point them downward toward the foot of the bed, hold for 1 second, and repeat. This motion directly activates the calf muscle pump I described earlier, the same mechanism your body uses when you walk. And it immediately begins pushing pooled venous blood up through your legs towards your heart. Studies have shown that even 30 seconds of ankle pumping after prolonged rest can increase venous return from the lower limbs by up to 40%, which means in less than a minute, you are already making a profound difference in how your blood is moving. After your 60 seconds of ankle pumping, move into the second phase, which takes about another 60 seconds and involves what I call leg circles. Keeping your legs relaxed and slightly elevated if possible, rotate your ankles slowly in large circles, 10 rotations clockwise, 10 counterclockwise, and feel the gentle stretch and activation working through your calves, your shins, and the muscles around your ankles. This movement serves a second purpose beyond circulation. It lubricates the ankle joint, which tends to stiffen overnight, and it stimulates the lymphatic vessels that run alongside your veins. And the lymphatic system is your body's fluid drainage system that is critically involved in preventing the kind of tissue swelling and puffiness that plagues so many seniors with circulation issues. The third phase of the routine is the one that might surprise you the most, and it takes the final 60 seconds before you stand up. I want you to do what I call a gentle leg raise. One leg at a time, raise it straight up toward the ceiling as far as it comfortably goes, hold for 3 seconds, Then lower it slowly and alternate legs for about 30 seconds total, followed by 30 seconds of simply lying there with both legs elevated slightly on a pillow or just held a few inches above the mattress. This position uses gravity itself as a tool. By getting your legs above your heart level even briefly, you allow a rush of venous blood to drain back toward your core, reducing the pressure in your leg veins dramatically and priming your circulation system for the demands of standing up and moving through your day. And then, this is critically important and most people skip it. When you do stand up from bed, do it slowly. Sit on the edge of the bed for 20 to 30 seconds before standing. Let your body adjust. Dangle your feet. Take a few deep breaths. This transition period allows your cardiovascular system to adapt to the sudden change from horizontal to vertical without causing that blood pressure drop that leads to dizziness, which is one of the leading causes of dangerous falls among American seniors. That transition alone, that simple pause on the edge of the bed, could prevent the fall that changes everything. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You're thinking, Dr. Brooks, that sounds almost too simple. 3 minutes in bed? That's it? And I understand that reaction completely because we live in a culture that assumes the solution has to be complicated and expensive to be real. But the truth that decades of research have confirmed is that the skeletal muscle pump in your legs responds immediately and powerfully to even very brief activation, and that the morning window, those first minutes when you transition from sleep to movement, is the single most impactful time of day to intervene in your circulation health because that's when the pooling and pressure are at their maximum and the potential benefit of movement is at its greatest. If this information is already changing how you think about your mornings, please give this video a thumbs up right now so we can reach more seniors who need to hear this. But I want to go further than just the 3-minute routine, because while those 3 minutes are genuinely powerful, they work best as part of a broader approach. And there are two more things I want to give you today that will amplify the results dramatically. Or the first is a circulation boosting morning drink that I call Dr. Brooks's Vascular Morning Protocol. And the second is a movement habit that takes less than 10 minutes. And that research suggests maybe the single most effective thing a senior can do for long-term vein health. So stay with me because the best part is genuinely still coming. Let's talk about Dr. Brooks's Vascular Morning Protocol, your circulation boosting morning drink. This is something I've been recommending to my patients for years, and the ingredients are all available at any Walmart, CVS, or Walgreens, or really any grocery store in America. And it takes less than 2 minutes to prepare. Here's what you'll need. Start with 8 ounces of warm water, and not hot, not cold, but warm, roughly body temperature, because warm water causes immediate vasodilation, which means your blood vessels actually relax and widen to allow better flow. And this is especially important first thing in the morning before your body has fully warmed up from the night. To that warm water, add 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar, which has been shown in multiple studies to improve blood viscosity. That's essentially the thickness of your blood. And blood that flows more freely is blood that circulates more effectively through the tiny capillaries of your legs. Then add a 1/4 teaspoon of turmeric powder, which contains curcumin, one of the most potent natural anti-inflammatory compounds identified by modern research, and chronic inflammation in the walls of your blood vessels is one of the primary drivers of venous damage and circulation decline in older adults. Stir in a small pinch of black pepper. This is not optional because the piperine in black pepper increases the bioavailability of curcumin by up to 2,000%, meaning your body actually absorbs and uses the turmeric instead of just passing it through. Finally, add 1 teaspoon of raw honey for both taste and its natural antioxidant and antimicrobial properties, which support overall vascular health. Drink this mixture slowly over 5 to 10 minutes, right after completing your 3-minute bed routine. And I want to be clear about the science here because this isn't folk medicine. Every single ingredient in this drink has been studied for its effects on cardiovascular and vascular health, and the combination creates a synergistic effect that supports your circulation from the inside at exactly the same time your morning movements are supporting it from the outside. It's a 1-2 punch for your legs, and I've seen it make a noticeable difference in patients within as little as 10 to 14 days of consistent use. I remember another patient of mine, a 68-year-old retired school teacher from rural Georgia named Robert, who had been struggling with chronic leg fatigue and what his previous doctor had dismissed as just poor tone for years. Robert started the morning protocol, both the bed routine and the drink. And within 3 weeks, he told me that for the first time in years, he was making it through his afternoon garden sessions without needing to sit down every 20 minutes. He said, and I'll never forget this, he said it felt like someone had turned the lights back on in his legs. That's the power of supporting your body with the right tools at the right time. Now, let's talk about becoming a member of this channel because if you want access to exclusive content, deeper health advice, and personalized home remedy guides that go even further than what I can share in a single video, becoming a member gives you all of that plus in depth protocols I've developed specifically for common senior health concerns. I share detailed information there that I simply don't have time to cover in these videos, and our members consistently tell me it's some of the most practically useful health guidance they've ever received. The link is below in the description, and I would love to have you join our community. Now, let me tell you about the second amplifier, the movement habit that takes less than 10 minutes and that I believe is the most underutilized tool in senior vascular health. I'm talking about what researchers call interrupted sitting. And the concept is elegantly simple, even though the science behind it is quite profound. Most of us, once we've gotten through our morning routine and sat down for breakfast or settled into our favorite chair, stay seated for long stretches of time without moving our legs significantly. And research published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that sitting for even 90 minutes causes a measurable and significant decline in blood flow through the popliteal artery. That's the major artery running behind your knee. And that this decline begins to negatively affect endothelial function, which is the health of the inner lining of your blood vessels within that same 90-minute window. In plain terms, the longer you sit without moving your legs, the more damage accumulates in your vascular system over time. And for seniors who are already dealing with weakened venous valves and reduced circulation, this sedentary sitting pattern can fast track the kind of leg problems that eventually rob people of their independence. The solution is not to stop sitting. Of course, you need to rest and relax, but to interrupt your sitting every 30 to 45 minutes with just 2 to 3 minutes of intentional leg movement. This can be as simple as standing up and marching in place for 60 seconds, doing 10 to 15 calf raises while holding the back of a chair for balance, or taking a short walk to the kitchen and back. What matters is that your calf muscle pump gets activated regularly throughout the day, not just in the morning, because every activation moves blood up from your legs and reduces the venous pressure that leads to swelling, pain, and long-term valve damage. And here's something I want you to really hold on to. This concept of interrupted sitting is not just about comfort, it is about longevity and independence. The seniors in my practice who adopt this habit consistently are the ones who are still walking their neighborhoods and tending their gardens and playing with their grandchildren years after their peers have become sedentary and declined. Your legs are your freedom. They are how you stay connected to the world, how you maintain your independence, how you keep the quality of life that you've earned after decades of hard work and contribution, and protecting them with something as simple as standing up and moving for 2 minutes every 45 minutes is one of the most powerful investments you can make in your future. Now, I want to address something that comes up frequently when I discuss circulation health with my patients. And that is the role of specific foods in supporting or harming your vascular system, because what you eat has a direct and scientifically documented effect on the health of your blood vessels and the quality of your circulation. The foods that most powerfully support leg circulation are the ones that reduce inflammation in your blood vessel walls, improve the flexibility and tone of your veins, and support the production of nitric oxide, which is the natural compound your body makes to relax and widen blood vessels for better flow. And the beautiful thing is that the most powerful of these foods are things you can find at any American grocery store, and many of them are already familiar parts of a healthy diet. Blueberries are at the top of my list, and I recommend them to virtually every patient I see with circulation concerns because they are absolutely packed with anthocyanins, which are powerful antioxidants that specifically protect and strengthen the walls of your blood vessels, including your veins. And multiple studies have shown that regular blueberry consumption reduces markers of vascular inflammation and improves endothelial function, which, as I mentioned, is the health of the inner lining of your arteries and veins. You can get them fresh or frozen at any Walmart or grocery store in America, and adding half a cup to your morning oatmeal or yogurt takes literally 15 seconds. Speaking of oatmeal, if you're not already eating oatmeal regularly, This is one of the most important dietary changes you can make for your cardiovascular and vascular health, because the beta glucan fiber in oatmeal has been extensively studied for its ability to reduce LDL cholesterol, which is the type that builds up inside blood vessel walls and restricts circulation. And it also helps regulate blood sugar, which is critically important because elevated blood sugar damages the small blood vessels in your legs and feet in a very specific and dangerous way that I'll come back to in just a moment. Garlic is another nutritional powerhouse for circulation that has been used medicinally for thousands of years, and that modern research has thoroughly validated because the allicin compounds in garlic have been shown to improve blood fluidity, reduce platelet aggregation, which is essentially the tendency of blood cells to clump together and form clots, and produce a mild but meaningful reduction in blood pressure, all of which directly benefits the circulation in your legs. I recommend 1 to 2 cloves of raw or lightly cooked garlic per day, and it pairs beautifully with olive oil, which itself contains oleocanthal, a compound with anti inflammatory properties remarkably similar to ibuprofen, supporting the health of your blood vessel walls from yet another angle.